XOXO! Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 shocking moments from Gossip Girl. For this list, we'll be looking at the craziest plot moments from this outrageous teen drama.
If you want my advice, it's run, Lola, run. 'Cause you just let out the mother of all secrets.
Number 10. Chuck's mother's reveal. This storyline is completely crazy from start to finish. For his entire life, Chuck believed that his mother died giving birth to him. As it turns out, that was a lie by Bart Bass. While at Daddy Dearest's grave, Chuck meets Elizabeth, and thus begins one of the most convoluted stories in Gossip Girl history. We practically got whiplash from all the back and forth. Is she or is she not the mother drama?
So you know she's not random. She knew my mother's favorite flowers. She had a picture of my father in her jewelry, and she knew me.
And clearly has no interest in being found by you.
So many lies.
I'm not your mother. I don't know if your real mother is alive or not, but I'm sure she loved you very much.
Another woman even claimed to be Chuck's mother at one point for some duplicitous reason.
The nurse recognized you. You saved Chuck's life. And you did that because I'm Chuck's mother.
But after years of searching, Chuck finally finds out the truth. Elizabeth Fisher is his birth mother.
But if Elizabeth really is my mother, then why would she deny being the donor? Something still doesn't add up.
Number 9. Chuck and Blair in the limo. They might have become Gossip Girl's it couple, but back in season 1, this hazy hookup was a real shocker.
You really don't think I'll go up there?
I know you won't do it.
Chuck was the bad boy player, and Blair was the good girl who went out with his best friend. But during the short period of time that she and Nate were broken up, she and Chuck shared a few defining moments that made them see each other in a different light.
Thanks for the lift home.
You were amazing out there.
You could definitely start to feel that things were starting to develop between them, but it all happened so suddenly. One minute they're annoying each other, and the next, they're making out in Chuck's limo. Mind blown. Number 8. Dan's baby. Georgina's entire purpose on the show was to stir up trouble. As if this show needed any more bad behavior.
Georgina, what are you doing back in town?
Looking for you, actually.
After the way she played Dan so spectacularly when she first came back to New York, he must have been absolutely insane to hook up with her again. And yet, he fell victim to one of her most dubious schemes ever. She shows up on Dan's doorstep pregnant with a baby that's apparently his.
Congratulations, Daddy. He looks just like you.
But what's an even bigger twist than Georgina randomly showing up pregnant with Dan's baby is that no one found this at all sketchy and just believed her for quite some time. Number 7. Chuck trades Blair for a hotel. Chuck and Blair have done some pretty terrible things to each other over the show's 6-season run, but this has definitely got to be the worst.
It's an interesting feeling holding another man's prized possession.
Chuck has an especially sordid relationship with his family, so why he ever trusts any of them is a mystery that may never be solved. When Jack Bass comes to town seeking revenge on Chuck, he hoodwinks Chuck out of his most prized possession at the time, his hotel.
I told Chuck I'd take either you or the hotel. He chose to give me you.
He tells Chuck that he will give it back if he offers up a night with Blair, and he makes the trade. Yeah, as if it's his to give.
I can't let my feelings cost me all that I've built.
Even if it means losing me instead.
Chuck willingly sells Blair to his uncle for a hotel, and all of our jaws hit the floor.
All I ever did was love you.
Number 6. Blair and Chuck's car crash. Drama just seems to follow Chuck and Blair around like a shadow.
We raised this baby right here.
Look at them.
When Blair decides to leave Louie and run away with Chuck, you could just feel it in the air that things were too good to be true and something bad was going to happen. But no one could have expected this.
Well, there's paparazzi.
Yeah, they're chasing the car in front of us. Pretty aggressive.
Yeah, I think they're chasing my friends.
What makes this particularly interesting is that we experience the crash from Nate's point of view. He's in the vehicle behind Chuck and Blair, and though he has no idea what's going on, you can feel some kind of tension before the crash even happens. You hear the crash from Nate's car and see his shocked reaction, and we were all right there with him.
Those motorcycles are really out of control.
What the hell are they doing? Oh my God!
Number 5. Jenny's first time with Chuck. There have been quite a few unlikely pairings on this show, but this one beats them all.
Chuck, what are you doing?
Trying to forget.
After pretty much ruining her relationships with all of her friends, Jenny goes to look for Nate for some comfort, but finds Chuck instead. He's also depressed because he thinks Blair bailed on him again.
The world you're looking for only exists from the outside. The only reason I survive in it is because I always knew it was empty.
In a moment of desperation, they turn to each other and end up in bed together. The whole thing is extremely cringeworthy, especially because Jenny really needed a friend, and Chuck took advantage of the vulnerable situation. And because Jenny ends up losing her virginity to the same guy that previously tried to force himself on her.
If you want to leave, now would be the time.
I don't want to be alone.
One of the most cringeworthy things to ever happen on the show. Were you screaming at your screen? Because we were. Number 4, Serena's confession. The big mystery behind why Serena left New York had been looming over her friends for a year. It was the catalyst of season 1.
No, B, this is the one thing I can't tell you.
And when the big secret was finally revealed to everyone that Serena hooked up with Blair's then-boyfriend Nate, we all thought that was the end of that particular strain of drama. But we were wrong. Turns out, Serena had another big secret that she'd been keeping to herself. After starting to resort to her former self-destructive self, her friends staged something of an intervention, and she confesses that she was partly responsible for someone's death. Of all the things that Serena could have possibly revealed, did anyone expect it to be that?
I killed someone.
Number 3, Bart dies again. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's start with Bart's first death.
Bart's been in an accident.
Allegedly, Bart was in a fatal car accident while on his way home. They had a funeral and everything, and Chuck was surprisingly destroyed. Then, a few years later, Bart returns from the dead, revealing that he faked his first death to escape some shady dealings he'd been involved in.
Oh my God.
But come on, did any of us really believe that the car accident was the end of Bart Bass?
The only person who can get Nate out of jail is me.
We'll see how powerful you are when you are locked inside with him.
Finally, after having Nate arrested, threatening Blair, and trying to kill his own son, man, this dude could throw a tantrum. Bart and Chuck end up in a huge fight to the death on the roof of one of his buildings.
Who do you think they're gonna believe? Huh? I'm better than you. Some sad, pathetic, little boy.
And Bart goes over the edge. Number 2, Chuck getting shot. This comes completely out of nowhere.
This one night didn't happen.
After his failed attempt to propose to Blair, Chuck travels to Prague to escape New York for a bit.
Gentlemen, there's no need to get rough.
Practically upon his arrival, Chuck is randomly confronted by a couple of muggers who try to steal not just his money, but also the engagement ring he planned to give Blair. When Chuck refuses to give up the ring, the muggers shoot him, leaving the season on a life-or-death cliffhanger. It's even more shocking that, with the way this show works, the shooting didn't turn out to be some kind of masterfully orchestrated evil plot against Chuck. The other shoe just never dropped. Hoo boy, Gossip Girl was so dramatic it made my head spin. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The reveal of Lily and Rufus' son, Scott.
What, do you know him?
Yeah, that was...
Your love child. Yeah, not dead. Congratulations, it's a boy.
Dan and Blair Kiss.
But for crying out loud, Humphrey. XOXO.
It's a sham marriage between Blair and Louis.
From this moment forward, there is nothing between us but a contract. Our marriage is all for show. And you're going to put on the best damn show anyone ever has.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Gossip Girl's identity. No one could have suspected that Dan, of all people, would turn out to be the infamous Gossip Girl.
Right on cue, Gossip Girl.
It's not Gossip Girl. It's the Spectator.
This was a huge controversy among fans of the show, as many believe it was impossible for Dan to be Gossip Girl.
Seriously?
Surely the showrunners wrote this ending with the intention of being shocking, but it passed into the realm of unbelievability.
And membership in this community was so elite, you couldn't even buy your way in. It was a birthright I didn't have, and my greatest achievements would never earn me. All I had to compare to this world was what I'd read in books.
To many, it seemed much less like a carefully thought out plan and more like the writers had no idea who Gossip Girl was either, and just ended up making it Dan because it was the craziest possible answer.
I know. I've screwed up. Right, plenty of times. But I've always tried to do the right thing. Like you taught me.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.